Hey guys, what's up? It's Looney TNT. So today's going to be almost kind of like a podcast style where I'm just going to be talking about things and you guys can look at the little WoW symbol or you guys can play some World of Warcraft or do something in the background. So today's video I wanted to discuss why I think Classic is going to be the biggest WoW has ever been. And there's a lot of people out there that are kind of criticizing it. I saw a clip of Boogie2988 that did a thing that said Classic is gonna, it's gonna just suck, and people aren't gonna have enough time to play it and things like that. And I think that's just crazy. So I wanted to kind of talk about those things today and discuss my feelings about it and why I think it's gonna be so great. So people that are playing, people are calling it retail. WoW Classic's going to be retail also, because you do have to have a monthly subscription fee. But the game that we play today, BFA, it's going to be so much different than Classic. And I think a lot of people are getting really frustrated with everything we're having to do now and all the repeatable content that we've been doing. And it's like, we just got to do this over and over and over. Classic's a different story. There's a lot of things that are going to be really good with Classic when it comes to leveling, when it comes to making friends, making guilds, even raiding. Like people are talking about raids where they're going to be easy, we're just going to steamroll through it. So Classic is really dependent on gear. If you don't have the gear, you're not going to be doing very well. And I think that is just such a great concept because the raids in general, when you go in there, the mechanics aren't too difficult. The mechanics are pretty easy, looking at today's standards, which, to be honest, I'm getting kind of burnt out on all the mechanics that you have to do for fights in general today. There's a lot of things that you have to sit there and, alright, dodge this as if you have this, and if you have this, you got to go here, but make sure you're stacked over here with these guys. And then we jump into this bubble and swim through this thing, and then if we don't have the boss tag, then we're all wipe. And, Classic is, don't stand in this fire. Or, if he's about to cast the fear, run away. Right? Those are the mechanics in WoW, and I think that raiding gets very addicting, because people aren't, it's kind of stressful sometimes going into a raid. It's like, all right, we're going to go progress on this boss. We've been on this boss for, 100 pulls, and, Bob keeps screwing up or something like that. There's always that thing. And Classic, the rating's, more simplistic, which I think that's the way it should be. I think gear checks should be a thing. If you got the gear, you can beat the boss. I think that's awesome. And obviously there is some skill to it, but, I think going back to I'm excited to raid that way. That's what I'm excited about. Very excited. Another thing that I think people are really going to love, I think they're going to really love the leveling experience. Now, we're going to have to grind some mobs and kill some mobs, but that is when I made the most friends, like when I used to play EverQuest. When we would be grinding, it's like, hey, we'd get a couple people in the group, we'd go kill some mobs, and we'd just stay there for hours, just, talking, having a good time, and grinding it out. I remember those grinds, and I'm excited to just grind some mobs. I'm not a big quester, I don't like to do a lot of quests, and in Classic, the questing was okay, but the questing was more about bringing you to different areas and grinding mobs in those areas, which I think is going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be awesome that levels will actually matter. So, like today, in today's WoW, it's different. You're going out there, you're getting to level 120, and if you're not 120, you're really not doing anything. We're not really grouping with you if you're not 120. But if you're when you're leveling up to that leveling process, every level matters. We're getting new skills. We're getting talent points. We're able to wear different things, and I think that's great. Like Boogie criticized, You know, he's like, yeah, you're going to be 6 weeks in and only level 25, and, you know, you're going to be like, well, where's my mount? No. You're going to be 6 weeks in, you're going to log on and be like, all right, I'm going to get level 26. All right, here we go. Let's keep going. And then once you're 39, you're going to be like, all right, at level 40, I can get my mount. All right, at level 40, I can wear plate armor now, right? That's what you're going to be. It's not a deterrent, and I guess it will be a deterrent to some people. Some people want things now. But everybody's going to be on the same playing field. And I think it's going to be awesome. Everybody's going to be relearning this game. Nobody has played Classic since Classic was out. Nobody. Everybody's like, well, we play private servers, we've done this. No, private servers were similar, but they were not classic World of Warcraft. I got a call crazy, I almost died with a hiccup. They weren't all the same, right? The numbers weren't the same. The mobs weren't even the same. There were mobs that did different abilities. So like these grinding routes and stuff that people are doing, they're completely different. So nobody has really played Classic WoW since Classic WoW's been out. So it's going to be just a new feeling for everybody. And you know, the biggest thing here is I think Classic WoW is going to be better than Vanilla WoW. And that might sound weird because, hey, well, they're supposed to be the same game, right? No changes. They're starting it with the best of the best. There were a lot of problems with things in Classic, and they know that. So what they're doing is they're saying, hey, this is when it was the best. This is when everything was fixed. Let's go with the best. And I think this is going to be a game changer for a lot of things because when you think about classes that didn't even work in Classic, now they're going to work. Now they're going to be viable. And they're going to be viable at the beginning of the game, not the end of the expansion. They're going to be viable at the beginning, which I think is going to change so many different things. So when you start with the best of Classic, there's going to be people that are going to love this. And there's people out there that have wanted to play World of Warcraft for such a long time. They're like, yeah, I'd love to play WoW. I've heard about it. I just can't get into it because there's like, you have to get to level like 100 or something like that. That's what people think. It's the same thing with, so I played EverQuest Online Adventures, and it was just ahead of its time. It was on the PlayStation 2, and it was an MMO on the PlayStation 2, and it was amazing. Once that game shut down, I was like, well, maybe I'll play EverQuest. But EverQuest was so far into the expansions, I didn't really even want to touch it. I was like, they're like on expansion 5? I don't want to have to get all that stuff, and, you know, I just relearn everything. Everybody else knows what they're doing. I don't want to do that. But with Classic World of Warcraft, it's a clean slate. I have people that I've talked to that, like I train with and stuff that have never played WoW, that are going to play Classic because it's the beginning. They're like, yeah, I'm going to come and play Classic. And, you know, I tell them, I'm like, yeah, but you're going to be grinding pretty hard. How's that for you? And they're like, that's going to be awesome, right? We have kids nowadays. Think about this. Like, another criticism for Boogie2988. You know, he's like, oh, people aren't going to they don't have 8 hours a day to play, you know, World of Warcraft. Are you kidding me? People play games for such a long time nowadays. These kids get off school and play Fortnite from, you know, whether they get off at 2:30 or 3 till they go to bed, sometimes at 10 or 11, maybe even 12 o'clock. They stay on the game the entire time. They don't get off of it. All they do is play video games. All they're doing is they're looking at their phones playing video games. That's all they're doing. If you added up the time that people are consuming video games nowadays, it'd be insane compared to what we had back in the day. You know, the thing about, you know, World of Warcraft stories, you know, where people, you know, were getting sick and stuff because they weren't getting off the game. You know, that was true, but gamers are so different now. Gamers are used to this stuff. Do you remember the times where we used to wear headsets and get headaches? Right? Because we weren't used to wearing headsets all the time. Yeah, things are different. Things are way different. Remember the chairs that we used to sit at in front of our computer? Usually they weren't fancy computer chairs. Now they're fancy computer chairs. They're all comfortable. They're ready for us to sit there and play all day, okay? Back in the day, we didn't have dual monitors where we can watch YouTube as we're grinding. People are going to embrace it, and I think people are going to thrive through this. People want a game where they can grind and get stronger and get better so they can get better than the guy sitting next to them. That's what they want. So the thing about people not having 8 hours a day is just, it's insane. It's crazy. Now, when you're looking at adults, you know, that have played Classic back in the day, oh, I don't got time. The thing about it is everybody has time. It's just, what are you doing with your time? Everybody has 24 hours in a day. Are you working 12 hours a day? Maybe. But guess what? You still have 12 other hours in that day. Are you going to spend them with your family? Are you going to spend them with your friends? Are you going to spend them with World of Warcraft? It's up to the person that's going to be playing. And a lot of these people that are playing right now, they do have jobs. They do things. But they're going to come home. They're going to relax. And they're going to play World of Warcraft. Are they going to level as fast as everybody else? No. Are they going to love it? Oh, yes, they're going to love it. It's different. A level 30 today and a level 30 in Classic were two different things. A level 30 today, you know, their mindset was like, ah, crap, I got to get to 120 so I can raid with my guild next month, right? Or next week. Level 30 in Classic was, hey, I'm going to get to level 31, I'm going to get that new talent, and then I'm going to be able to get this, and, you know, and then at level, like, 32, I'm going to be able to learn this skill, this is going to be awesome. It's a different mindset. It's a way different mindset. So, I feel Classic World of Warcraft is going to be the biggest WoW has ever been. I'm dead serious about that. And I've played, everybody kind of jokes about it, but they talk about RuneScape and Old School RuneScape and stuff. There's streamers right now that are playing Old School RuneScape. Josh from Method played Old School RuneScape to mess around, but you know he was enjoying it and having fun when he was doing it. There's all these, so let's talk about that for a second, so I don't keep pushing on because I'm kind of rambling on. Old School RuneScape was gigantic. So RuneScape died when they called it Evolution of Combat. So what they tried to do with RuneScape is they tried to make it like World of Warcraft. They had an action bar and all this other stuff, and it was, you know, they tried to make it WoW, and they failed. And everybody's like, this is not what we want. This is not the type of gameplay we want. Sounds kind of similar to World of Warcraft right now. Things that we don't want are in the game. And, you know, Titan Forging and things like that. So, what RuneScape did was they made Old School RuneScape. And Old School RuneScape is more popular than regular RuneScape right now. There's so many people in that community. It's insane. And both communities help each other. The Old School community goes over to the RuneScape 3, I think they call it now. And the RuneScape 3 guys go over to the Old School. They kind of play both sides, and they enjoy it. So, these Classic guys that are going to come in and play, they're going to be like, yeah, this is awesome. You know, they're like, yeah, I want a little break from the grind. I'm going to check out what the real game has to do right now. Let's see what's in here. And they're going to log on. They're going to level a character. Be like, oh, man, leveling's fast here. I like that. And then, you know, they're going to get to, you know, max level, and they're going to start rating. They're like, all right, this is pretty fun, but I do miss this feature. And they go back to Classic, and they start playing that. I think that's going to go back and forth big time, and I think it's going to help World of Warcraft out with content droughts. Like, think about this. BFA, a big criticism is like people just don't like what's going on right now. They're like, I just don't like this. This is boring. I don't feel engaged to play it. If Classic was out right now, they'd be like, I don't really like this raid. I don't really like this. I'm gonna go play Classic. And then they play Classic, and then all of a sudden, oh, the new patch is out. All right. well, let's go play the new patch. And then they start playing the new patch. Oh, I like this. And then they get back hooked into it. I think that's going to be a giant thing with World of Warcraft. It's going to be interesting dynamic there. So I'm excited. I'm super excited to see the future of World of Warcraft when they add Classic into it. I think it's going to be a giant thing. When we have the best of the best when it comes to Classic, I think it's going to be crazy. And people are kind of, you know, and if you don't understand what I mean by the best of the best, we're not starting Classic from the beginning when it had all the issues. We're starting at like the end when everything was fixed, but we're still getting the privilege of starting these raids out at different times, right? So we're still getting patches or things like that, you know, and, you know, raid drops, you know, they're like, all right, we're dropping this raid this month, and then in 2 months, we're going to drop that thing, and then 2 months, we're going to drop that thing. So we're still getting the World of Warcraft cycle, but we're starting it when it was the best, when everybody remembered it, when everybody was having fun with it. Everybody had fun with it before also, right? Like there's, like the AV change, you know, AV people are, they're starting it with a better AV. And people are kind of criticizing that. They're like, oh, well, that's not the same. Well, that was the best AV that was in Classic. You know, that's the AV that, I'm not going to get into all of it, but they're starting with the best of the best. And I think that's going to be exciting. So the cool thing is, like you hear me talking about Classic, right? I've never even played Classic. I started at the end of it. So I guess I did play it. But, you know, I don't consider that playing Classic. When I really got into it hardcore was in the Burning Crusade. That's when I really got into it. When Burning Crusade launched and I was able to do it. That's what was my game, right? Classic I've never really played, but I've only heard tales, you know, and I've felt the grind on the Burning Crusade, which was easier, but I'm ready to feel the grind here. I'm ready to see these dungeons that were like, you know, 5-man dungeons that we know today that are 10-man raids, I guess. Like what are they? Do they call it the 1.5 gear or the 0.5 or something tier? I don't know what it is, but they're like tier sets, but they're blue, you know. And I'm like, that's exciting to me. I'm ready to run the old dungeons. I'm ready to see the old worlds. I miss the old worlds so much. When Cataclysm came out, it ruined the game for me with the old content, because I remember grinding in Feralus, and because back then I grinded too. I remember grinding in Feralus, and I was killing those fairy things, you know, and that was my little grind spot in that corner, you know. I was kill those fairies, and man, I'm excited. I'm pumped up. I'm excited, and I'm gonna love playing Classic. So, that said, hopefully you guys, you know, I can talk way more about this, you know, but I'm not gonna make, you know, an hour-long video of me just talking. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, though. I think this video is about 18 minutes, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so pumped up, and I hope you guys are too. If you guys are excited about Classic or not excited about Classic, give it a try. Just give it a try. And don't just try it for like, oh, well, I played it for like an hour. When I first started playing World of Warcraft, it took me, you know, a week or two to kind of get into the game. I was like, I don't know about this, you know. But once I started getting into it, I started loving it. And I think it's going to be a big part of World of Warcraft history, because, you know, when we talk about vanilla, you know, it's like that sacred vanilla, you know, and then we talk about the Burning Crusade of the golden years, you know, and then Wrath of the Lich King was just like, there's mixed feelings with it. Some people think it was the best, some people think it sucked, and then we go into Cataclysm, Mop, and stuff like that, and it just kind of went downhill from there, in my opinion. There was some good spots, but it just wasn't the same. And it's not necessarily that it was new, because, you know, it wasn't new. You know, when Burning Crusade and Wrath was out, it wasn't new. So, I don't know. I'm excited. So, Give it a try. Alright, guys. That's about it. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. Do what you guys need to do. If you guys want to help me, you know, share this video in your Discord or something like that, or share it with a friend. You know, the more subscribers and the more like clicks and the more likes and the more comments and all that stuff, it helps the channel grow, and we grow slowly and slowly. And that's about it. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.